talk about Summer Games Fest as summer is in full swing, right? The weather's hot, I'm sweating in the studio again. The beer is as cold as ever. The pool is as fresh as possible. And the games are flowing, which I absolutely love this time of year. Anyway, in case you missed it, Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest revealed a bunch of new games and gave us an update on plenty of them. There were 30 total games featured during this showcase, and we got some big ones, and we got some not so big ones, but let's talk about the ones that I loved the most. First and foremost, Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9. Resident Evil Requiem introduces Grace Ashcroft, an FBI agent investigating mysterious deaths at a hotel linked to her mother's past. The narrative returns players to a post-destruction Raccoon City, featuring familiar locations like Raccoon City Police Department and the Spencer Mansion. The game emphasizes psychological horror, blending traditional survival elements with high-stake cinematic action. And I do have to say, as hyped as I am for this game, the swerve and the audacity of Capcom was probably the best part of this, right? Throughout the entire show, Capcom's like, hey, we got some Resident Evil news. And then they revealed the Resident Evil news. And it was like, you could buy the games on sale right now. Go buy Village. Go buy 1. Go buy 2. They're all on sale. And I was like, are we not going to get Resident Evil 9? Are we not going to get this announcement? And then they said, oh, it's the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil. So we got the creator of Resident Evil to say something special. And he comes out and he's like, I really understand people are excited about the next chapter, but I want to come on here and say thank you for your support over 30 years, and you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. Resident Evil 9 is coming. It's going to be awesome. I swear, you just need to wait, but we're not going to show it today. And I'm like, what the hell, Capcom? Those of you on the live stream, you can attest to it. I was like, what in the world is going on? I need this game in my life, and you're just teasing me. Like, screw you, Capcom. And then Jeff Keighley, that Crash Bandicoot-loving, Muppet-hugging mother effer, comes out and he's like, oh, before we end, just one more thing. Boom. Resident Evil 9. And I kid you not, you can go back, watch the stream, goosebumps. I literally got goosebumps from the excitement of that announcement. But we did get a release date, early 2026. Very hyped about this game. I love the Resident Evil series. I love horror video games. And Resident Evil Requiem looks absolutely incredible. The second game we have to talk about here is Felt That Boxing, which, if it wasn't for Resident Evil, this would have been the game of the show for me. So players are going to step into an oversized gloves of Ezra Fuzzy Wright, an unadoptable orphan turned prize fighter who competes in the tournament of 1,000,000 punches to save Fuzzy's beloved puppet orphanage. Yeah, this is a puppet-styled boxing story, and the gameplay here is very Punch-Out. Like, when I saw it, I was like, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. We're getting a modernized version. It's an arcade-style boxing game. It's got chaotic physics-driven combat, but it also has a ton of mini-games that are included. According to the game's Steam page, the gameplay itself will be 8 to 12 hours of stories where you're going to be playing Fuzzy, going through these eccentric opponents and arenas, and then you'll engage in engage in like off-the-wall activities like plunging toilets, dodging burnt toast, and obviously a bunch of other things to improve your character and unlock secret moves. The Steam page does say there's going to be something called Chaos Mode, where you're going to be like unleashing a flurry of flailing puppet punches. And then they also talked about customization, where you can unlock hand-designed costumes, hype music for ring entrances, and special taunts and dances. Which this game looks incredible. Absolutely want to play it. And again, I think just the uniqueness of this game, looking like nothing we've ever seen before, is what kind of stole the show for me. And I cannot wait to see more of this. The other game that definitely stole my heart during this was Deadpool VR. And I wondered how long it was going to take for us to get a game like this, because again, you always see these VR games on social media and people are like modding Deadpool or they're modding Spider-Man in, and it's like a first-person perspective. And I'm like, how long is it going to take for us to get one? Well, we're getting one now. Essentially, this is going to be like a first-person VR combat. Think like Super Hot, but Deadpool. You're going to be playing Deadpool, and you're going to be shooting and messing around with your sword and doing parkour. You can deflect bullets with your sword. At one point, it showed that you could grab your enemy's face and put it into like a propeller blade, like cutting their face off. So it's going to be super violent. The one question I have here is like, why did we not get Ryan Reynolds, right? Neil Patrick Harris will be voicing this Deadpool, and I'm like, I understand Ryan is tied up with the whole Justin Baldoni situation right now, but what, is he too good for Deadpool now? Is he too good for the Deadpool VR video game? Because I feel like that would be the one thing that would push this game over the edge to be game of the year, is like, not only are you playing as the merc with the mouth, but it's like when you're hearing his internal thoughts in his voice, you're hearing Ryan Reynolds. And I just feel like, hey, that would have pushed this game over the edge. But anyway, maybe I'm not giving Neil Patrick Harris enough due. Maybe he deserves enough credit, and maybe I get this game and I'm like, screw Ryan Reynolds. Neil Patrick Harris is the new Deadpool. But anyway, Deadpool VR is coming to the MetaQuest headsets, and it's going to be launching later this year in 2025. And then we had a couple indie games I wanted to talk about real quick, specifically End of the Abyss, which is going to be like this top-down shooter that's going to be coming from Section 9 Interactive. And this studio was founded by people who worked on Little Nightmares, which is a game that I hold very close to my heart. And this game has like a super dark and moody aesthetic, and you're shown like going through there and you're fighting monsters, and you shoot one of the monsters and like they regenerate, and you got flashlights and you're just trying to get through. Again, super simple concept, but I think that just focusing in so hard on that psychological horror, it sells me, man. And I cannot wait for this game. End of Abyss looks incredible. Another game that deserves a lot of praise is The Cube. Now, this is going to be an MMO shooter RPG that's set in the Atomic Heart universe, which I love the fact that we're expanding the Atomic Heart series and creating other games that aren't like the typical gameplay. But what makes it special is like you're playing on this cube, and it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube because it's constantly rotating and it's constantly changing. And you might be on this section of the Rubik's Cube, but then you get rotated and now you're on this side of the wall fighting and experiencing with all the players on that side. And so it's constantly changing, presenting like new scenarios and challenges. And anyway, this game looks super unique. I can't wait to try it firsthand. And I think just the idea that it's constantly changing and you can run into new players and maybe have to like tunnel to get to another layer. A lot of questions that I have about it, but I'm really looking forward to it. No release date. It still says TBD, but we do know it's coming to PlayStation, it's coming to Xbox, and it's coming to PC. Act of Blood was a third-person beat-em-up action game that's developed by a solo developer from Indonesia. This game is set in Indonesia, and the game will be drawing inspiration from other martial art films like The Raid and the most recent video game Sifu, along with the Batman Arkham series. This has fast-paced, brutal hand-to-hand combat. You can utilize a variety of weapons, including your fists, guns, pipes, baseball bats, knives. At one point, someone comes at you with a chainsaw. I'm assuming you can flip that chainsaw around and just your enemies. You can perform parkour moves. There's different levels to get surprise attacks. Game looks really cool. It literally looks like they took the concept of Sifu and just expanded it into a massive concept. And the fact that it's done by a solo developer, I think deserves a lot of praise. Again, kind of bummed the game's not coming out this year. It'll be coming out in the summer of 2026. Now, again, these are the games I thought were super cool, but there were a ton of other games that were announced and a lot of games that a lot of people were hyped about. But for me, one of the things that bummed me out was like there were so many Souls-like video games, and there was a ton of anime video games, which again, if you're into that and that's like the genre that you like to play, you're going to be eating very well, and your wallet is going to be like, what are you doing to me? Like at one point, I think I counted 8 Souls-like dark Asian horror inspired Elden Ring darling style video games. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Elden Ring was super popular, but Elden Ring was popular because it's Elden Ring, right? It came out and there wasn't a lot of competition. Now this genre is becoming so convoluted that like at one point I'm like, they're blending together. Like every one of these Souls-like video games, I'm like, I couldn't tell you the difference between the first one that was announced versus the second one was announced. And maybe it's just like, I'm not into this genre. And if you're into it, I apologize. I don't mean to offend you, but I was just like, man, there's so much anime going on here. And there's so much Souls-like video games that I'm just like, shoot. But the one thing that it did do, and I don't think that anyone planned for this, but like the developers who are creating games like Mouse PI or Felt That Boxing, those games stood out brighter than I think they would have in any others because all of the other games blended together and they looked so similar that when anything different popped up, I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's not a Souls-like video game. I'm definitely going to play that. Or that's a Mickey Mouse knockoff video game shooter. I'm definitely going to play that. Or I can play as a Muppet and box in a crude humor video game. Definitely interested in that. But anyway, Summer Games Fest overall, I really enjoyed it. Had a great time sitting here in the studio talking with all of you guys. Please, these are the games I thought were cool. Obviously, it's not the coolest of the video games, but Sound off in the comment section, letting me know what you liked. And if you missed hanging out with us during Summer Games Fest and you want to hang out again, don't worry, there's plenty of time to do it. Xbox Game Showcase will be taking place on June 8th at 12 p.m. Central Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Come by, say hello, hang out with us over on YouTube Live or on TikTok Live, and let us know what you're excited about and what games you're looking forward to. I think the Xbox Game Showcase has the potential to be pretty big. Maybe we see Fable. I bet we see the Xbox Asus handheld there. I think that there's a really good potential we see that. And, I think Xbox is also the studio that's like, we're not afraid to swing for the fences. Let's tease the next-gen console. Let's show it off. Let's get people excited about what next-gen Xbox looks like and what our vision for the future of Xbox is. Really, really looking forward to that event, and I can't wait to hang out with you guys here in the studio for that. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Nerf Report. Thank y'all again so much for hanging out with me. It means the world to me that you spend the time to watch this show, to watch our clips, but also that you take the time to listen to our show while you're playing video games. And if you haven't done so already, please help us out. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your grandma. I know it sounds like a joke, but it truly does help us here on the show and make this show possible. So shout out to the Nerf Gaming News Plus members who are giving us money every single week to make this show possible, and a big thank you to all of those who made it to this end of the show. Put it in the comment section and put #end, letting me know you made it all the way to the end. Until next time, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.